Japan finally did something about the collapsing yen, quote, shocking markets with a series of pointless interventions traders mocked as, quote, half-assed. So half-assed, in fact, they got Janet Yellen in a snit, who complained that she was not consulted and would appreciate very much being consulted in the future. The currency collapse clown show in all its glory coming to a country near you. First, what Japan did. They apparently carried out a pair of interventions last week, timed for local holidays to maximize pain on everybody betting against the yen, which is indeed everybody. In the first intervention, they boosted the yen from 159 per dollar all the way up to 156. It immediately fell back down to 158, so they tried again, knocking it way down to 153, after which it popped back to 156 and rising. This roller coaster apparently cost the Bank of Japan roughly $55 billion. The problem is it didn't change any of the fundamentals for the yen, which is collapsing because Japan has locked its economy into 0% interest rates while U.S. debt is paying 5%, meaning trillions flooding out of yen assets and into dollar assets, sell enough yen, and presto, it collapses. So if it doesn't change anything, why waste $55 billion? Because they're simply trying to slow it down, to inflict enough pain on yen sellers that they reduce their bets and let the yen die slow instead of fast. Because slow makes better headlines for a Japanese public that is already thoroughly disgusted with their government, sporting roughly 26% approval ratings, yes, even lower than Brandon. The problem is markets know that Bank of Japan is merely slowing the inevitable, meaning markets will keep selling the yen. Moreover, markets also know the Bank of Japan has a finite amount of dollars. They are running out of ammunition. According to estimates by UBS, the Bank of Japan only had $150 billion in cash. That's before they wasted $55 last week. They might have another $150 billion they could convert into cash, at which point they would have to start raiding Japan's international currency reserves built up over decades. That would involve selling potentially hundreds of billions of U.S. Treasury debt. That would be interesting considering Joe Biden's deficits are currently pushing $2 trillion this year, a tsunami of debt, even as countries from China to Indonesia are pulling out of dollars, spooked by the recent bill seizing Russia's central bank assets. So what's next? Brought to you by Unchained.com. For Japan, there is no cavalry coming. Decades of zero interest rates and massive deficit spending mean the Japanese economy simply cannot survive interest rates high enough to defend the yen. They're down to throwing bits of broken furniture at the speculative barbarians at the gate. As for the rest of us, what happens in Japan won't stay in Japan, partly because it's the fourth largest economy in the world. This ain't Argentina. If Japan implodes, it takes a large slab of the world financial system with it, starting with plunging treasury prices and the opaque yen carry trade. But more because Japan is a canary in the coal mine for the rest of us, from the US and Europe to Canada and Australia. The entire West is following Japan, converting their once productive economies into subsidized casinos dominated by government spending and money printing. The imploding yen may be the first. It will not be the last. Okay? We'll be watching. See you next time.